I think this posted while you were on the air.
Oh, boy.
So you probably haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Oh, wow.
And I don't like doing radio that asks for all of our good people driving around the Bay today to be. So did you read? I'm thinking no. I know. You're at work. You got stuff going on. But ESPN has a cover story today on the Warriors and the teetering end of the dynasty. But it's focused on Joe Lacob. That's what the article is really.
Evan was just telling me.
It's basically the only person that Baxter Holmes talked to, it seems. He actually talked to a bunch of people, but no one else is named. A lot of unnamed rival execs and all that stuff. And he didn't talk to Steph or Steve or Draymond.
I'm excited, right.
He spoke to Joe Lacob and got a lot of quotes. And here's the question I want to ask you, because the points you need to know are the idea of two timelines. That was Joe's idea. And reportedly, the coaches at the time were like, that's not possible.
Okay.
That's not possible.
Gotcha.
You cannot ask us to win a championship and develop Jonathan Kuminga at the same. How do we do that? When has that ever happened in the history of ever? Right? So there was pushback there. And now you hear Joe going, we're never going to be in the lottery. And there's another quote in there from an unnamed rival. And I'll get the exact quote, but to paraphrase, he's like, these billionaires buy teams and they come in, they've never lost anything in their life, and they swagger in and they're like, I'm going to be great at this too. And usually that billionaire gets his butt handed to him within the first 2 years. But Joe walked in.
Incredible.
Went on a dynasty. So this person insinuates that means Joe actually thinks that he can do no wrong and that he walks on water and he literally has the power to, as he said yesterday, never, ever be in the lottery.
Okay.
All right. Is Joe Lacob realistic? What do you think?
Well, I'll just go off of that.
Yeah.
Right now, as it sits and you're sitting with Steph Curry, I don't see lottery is nowhere on it's not even on the chessboard at all. It's not even on the bingo
he's not talking about
card.
this year. He's talking about every year.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Curry will be in a Warrior uniform. As long as he is, in my estimation, in my math, they'll never be a lottery team. So on that front, that quote's going to buy him at least 48 months to me, that as long as you have Steph Curry in a Warrior uniform, the lottery you'll never be a part of. Now, life after Steph, if we want to be honest, they did what Kyle did with Trey Lance, but they didn't have the buffer of Brock Purdy because you struck out on Wiseman. You struck out, it looks like, and Moody, if you're listening, I love you. It looks like that's not going to happen.
Well, I've heard you say that twice this week.
But so they're
like,
1 for 3, batting 333.
I'm not as down on Moody as you are.
Okay. Well, no, I love the kid. I'm just saying here in Golden State.
It feels like they're
crowded.
down on Moody.
No doubt about it. Well, that's what I'm saying. Willard, I love Moody, yeah.
Yeah, but that goes week.
But go ahead. So that's my answer. I don't see them dipping that low to where you got to hit the reset.
What's the current streak in terms of NBA teams' longest run of not being in the lottery? How many years do you think that is?
Wow.
And what do you think that team is?
Oh, gosh. The longest run of not
because
being
he says
in the lottery.
we're not going to be in the lottery ever.
Ever. Well, is the goal.
You just were when you got Kuminga and Moody for one. So,
right.
But going forward, I would imagine that it can't be much more than 12 or 15 years current streak.
Can I ask a weird question? Is that even a sound business strategy? That sounds like ego to me. We will never be in the lottery.
Well, no doubt that's
okay.
a lot
that's
of that.
business.
It's
business.
Well, but no, it's not good business.
It's business because if you're good, then people show up, and if people show up, then they spend money to watch you.
But
that's the business he's talking about.
But if I'm the 7 or the 8 seed and I am not ending up in the lottery, but I am also not contending, how am I going to get better if I'm never in the lottery?
Free agents.
Okay.
And that's his approach.
There's no doubt, Dibs.
Right.
And he mentioned big moves if this thing goes south.
Yeah, and he also said he believes, and this is totally free from Steph, he said, we have a secret sauce. We are the Golden State Warriors. We are a destination. Which I found funny because on the other side of the parking lot, you've got a team that's like, can't get free agents because San Francisco.
Right.
And Joe's like, we are a key destination. Well, are they? Like, take Steph away in a couple years. Are the Warriors just on their own a free agent destination? So at a certain point, you boil this question down to this. Is Joe Lacob a great owner? Sure. Is Steph Curry a great player? Sure. But what's at the core of what the Warriors have done for the last 15 years? It's Joe Lacob's greatness as an owner? Or has he just been the owner while Steph's here?
That would be the answer.
It's also you hired great people below you who have gone on to do great things, including Jerry West, who helped bring in Kevin Durant and the draft picks that you've made and the moves that you've made. It's more than just Steph and the owner.
And I got a question for you, Willard, because I don't know if you're going down this road, but it's like the Phil Jackson thing. Everywhere you went, you were great, but you had studs. Talk to me if you did that with that version of the Sacramento Kings. Or I feel like Joe has already earned life after Steph, little turbulence, couple rough years.
For sure.
Like, or are you, and I'm not saying you were saying this, but let me know, or are people going to come out the bushes and be like, oh, Steph left, and strip him of what he's built?
No.
And you built a privately funded arena?
No,
you got, you know what I mean? 4 chips. One just 2 years ago?
It's not about ripping him or criticizing him. All you can ask for, I think, as a fan, is an owner who cares, wants to win, and spends money.
He checks all those boxes.
Absolutely. So there's never a point where you're going to be like, Lacob's the problem. I'm more looking at it through the lens of, what's this going to look like? I will say his ego concerns me.
Okay.
It concerns me because I think he thinks he did more of this than he did.
And that, wow, man, I got you.
That's the statement.
And why did he pick up the phone to call LeBron? Like,
good question.
You didn't get him, but that lets me know he's all in, Dibs. So, okay, I didn't get, she didn't want to go out with me this time, but I'm going to call somebody else, maybe in the summer, and all it takes, a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
And I don't worry about the ego of an owner who's done everything that he's done. And yes, and I'd have to check Basketball Reference, but I don't know how many points he's actually scored in these championships, but he has built an organization with people below him, including GMs and coaches and all the rest of it, that have won. And they've found their way from Oakland to San Francisco, and they built an arena so spectacular that they're going to host the All-Star game. So I don't fault him for any ego. I am interested to see, though, when he gets actual hardship. And the 1 year where KD got hurt and Clay got hurt and KD left and Steph broke his hand and Draymond took a timeout, whatever, that year almost doesn't even count, although that year did give you a couple of lottery picks on the back end of it. When Steph leaves and you have to really roll up your sleeves and figure out how to do this again, that to me is when Joe Lacob is going to have to not earn his money because he's the owner, but that to me is when he's really going to be tested.
And Willard, in all of business, I know arrogance is a key ingredient that some need to be successful. Could bite you in the ass too, but like he's arrogant, and I like it. Joey Lightyear,
there's no problem with
but right
arrogance.
now it's worked in his favor. Let's say that.
Of course.
Okay.
But
time is going to be
Of course. But. You
like he didn't score.
Where this goes next?
Oh, no doubt, man.
I'll give you one.
How can you be?
I know you're going. I know you're going to the game. I'll give you one tangible thing.
Well, says 4 or 5.
I mean, you could crawl there.
Hey, but Lucas was in my ear like, you want to go? Go ahead.
I'll give you one tangible thing that I believe. I believe the core of people's frustration with Steve Kerr right now is the idea that he doesn't develop young players, and I think that is an absolutely absurd point that people have made that was based on something that's not possible. And it was based on, and this came from Lacob, 2 timelines, which is not possible. It's not possible.
Plus the guys weren't that talented.
And they won a championship 2 years ago, and people are holding them accountable for not developing young players in the middle of winning a championship, which you factually cannot do. And now Steve Kerr's got this reputation
that he failed,
which is founded on nothing because James Wiseman stunk. Pajemski's going to make the all-rookie team.
And what about Kuminga? Kerr, we talked about it yesterday. He gets credit for that.
And he made some mistakes there, but evolved out of them and recovered a relationship in very short order. And that's on Joe because Joe set an expectation that was not doable. You can't do it. No team has ever done it. History of the league. And if you do get time to go read that article,
I will.
I'm reading it right now.
You'll understand how many people around the league looked at that idea and went, okay.
Well, what about this before
it would have worked if you would have picked somebody other than James Wiseman. The two timelines idea would have had more life, and if Draymond didn't knock out Jordan Poole, two timelines might have been something that was more viable.
Well, maybe. Who knows?
There were circumstances along the way.
But who knows who that person would have been? And they did. The point is
Tyrese Halliburton is the person.
But they drafted. Right. But who is Tyrese if he's behind Steph, Clay, and Dre? Like, I don't know how it would have played out. They philosophically went after people who were more projects than game ready.
Right.
And I once blamed Kerr for Wiseman's, but it wasn't. We found out it was.
It's almost like you're blaming Steve Kerr for winning a title.
Right.
It's like, how many people have been like, oh, that title was the worst thing for him? What?
And let me give you a bad baseball analogy about Joe Lacob, MLB. He's batting like 480 right now. I would say as his tenure as the owner of the Golden State Warriors. I know that's a little heavy. 480, almost 500. That's how I feel with the 4 titles. So he's due for a 1 for 22. But Willard, if you're telling me that's not going to come until Steph might be gone, like that's a long, you know what I mean? 48 months possibly, if not longer. So we don't know how aggressive and what he can do to bring somebody in here and shock the world. But had LeBron came, he would have shocked the world in the middle of the night. So I guess he's built up so much to where if he goes through that 1 for 22 slump, who really could condemn him?
No one.
I know you're not saying that, but he's playing with so much house money, man.
And quite frankly, again, all I would ever ask for from an owner, Joe does. And what he actually even says in this article repeatedly is, we are never going to accept mediocrity. And I go, that's great. That's great. I love the drive.
But it might not be reality.
The problem is if you get to that moment, is your ego going to say, I'd rather mediocrity I'd rather be like
than reset.
Kind of good as opposed to coming up with a plan to get great.
No, that
stubbornness, some would argue, has already bit them a couple of times.
And that's all. Real quick here, I'm just blown away that he called to check on LeBron because that could have meant Jonathan Kuminga's future. It could have meant anybody's name but Steph.
Right.
But that lets me know that's Joe. Like, that shocked me. And he go, oh, it was nothing. But there were going to be some things you had to part ways to get LeBron that we might have thought would never leave. So that is Joey Lightyear's the experience of just making that call to see if Beyonce wanted to go out.
It's Joe being ultra competitive and looking at his team and thinking, how do I fix this as soon as possible?
Wow.
And you get LeBron James and your team gets better. And now maybe not in 5 years, but
right now
you get better. And that's what he's thinking about, winning now. He's thinking about always winning.
No doubt about
winning year in and year out. So even if, when Steph is gone, he's going to find a way to make this team competitive. He's not going to take like the San Antonio route or the Oklahoma City route and take 3 or 4 years and just eat it and hope that these picks turn into players down the road.
Don't you always want to not be in the middle?
They say that's the worst.
Yeah.
Right? I was just saying. Bonte made a good point this morning about the whole LeBron thing. Like, LeBron has held every team he's ever played for hostage. You want him to come do that to the Warriors?
No, I didn't want him.
Well, he's running out of bullets in his gun.
And then there we go, there. That's the fact of the matter.
It'll be 40 next year, so you're the whole hostage thing, you run out of time.